talking about it is what it is. Can you talk a little bit about Zion Williamson and his incredible, out of the blue, crazy fucking weight loss? For the longest time, I feel like for maybe more than 5 years, I've seen a bunch of people on fucking NBA Twitter clowning Zion for his inability to be fit, to be healthy, to be ready to play, to not be injured, and just his unwillingness to take his basketball seriously. He's been in the media a lot more recently, or in the news, because of his weird proclivity or tendency to go for very cosmetically enhanced women. He seems to have taste in women that you would only say the only way to describe Zion's taste for the only way to describe Zion's taste for women, not women, would be to say that his taste in women clearly illustrates how much porn he watches. If that makes any sense. I think Zion Williamson's taste in women is a clear one-to-one, relation or whatever. You can see a clear line between his taste and the amount of porn he must consume, especially the type of some certain style. He likes a particular version of a woman. That's all you saw. And it's really sad because Zion went viral on social because of all these crazy high school, college fucking dunks and whatever else plays that he was doing while he was playing basketball in college and shit. Crazy. He has his highlight reel. His college highlight reel might be the only one that kind of compares to like LeBron's one when he was coming up. His highlight reel was crazy good, and everyone expected great things from him. I think he initially signed a deal that was like $40 million or something like that. Crazy, a rookie deal if I'm not mistaken, right? Straight in, $40 million, 20 or 25 of it was already guaranteed. Like crazy amount of money for a kid just coming out straight from college, right? And maybe that money corrupted him. Maybe it kind of made him lazy, unmotivated. I don't know why. But for some reason, he was fat for a long time. And he wasn't really ever getting into shape. He was always like, I think, maybe over 300 pounds, which is, for his height and weight, he should always be, I'd assume, somewhat under 270, 280. So being 290 plus pounds was never a good thing. And, he never seemed to be able to get away with it or like make it work or figure it out. And then, of course, the outside life started to take a bit of, toll on him as well. And it kind of seemed like he was going to get to a point where he's never going to fulfill his potential. Well, then out of the blue, he just came back and now he's debuting with these pictures and he looks in incredible shape. It looks like he's lost a bunch of weight. Not too sure if he's lost it through Ozempic only. I'm going to say maybe it was, but it could have just been him just locking in for the last few months and deciding, you know what, let me take my career seriously. But unfortunately, he hasn't been met with the greatest response. People online have been kind of clowning him because essentially people are like, what, it's taken you 7 years to wake up and finally realize that you should be taking your career seriously. And so people aren't too happy that he's only realized to do it now. And they're kind of, semi-clowning him for it. But I think he looks great. I can't wait to see how he performs. I'm a bit worried that he's not going to perform that well. Because sometimes when you lose this amount of weight, it can have maybe adverse effects on the way you play. And as I'll play later on, there's a clip from Cameron, actually. Cameron makes a good point. Big up Cameron, one of my favorite rappers forever. He makes a fucking great point of saying that maybe the weight, that extra weight, the degenerate fucking lifestyle he was living, maybe that kind of contribute to how great he was. The flashes of brilliance that we saw from him. And maybe if you take that away from him and he becomes a bit more of a clean living person, who's to say that magic will still be there? So that was a really good point that he made. But it's kind of sad that a lot of people aren't really giving him the props and the flowers he deserves for the weight loss. But I also understand some NBA fans are like, look, man, yeah, you gave us hell for 7 years, not taking your career seriously, kind of pissing all up against the wall, spitting in your fans' faces as well, but not performing that well, getting injured a bunch. And now because you suddenly decided to do the bare minimum, which is being shaped, to play the sport that you're fucking paid very handsomely for, you're now just, hoping for a pat on the back. People are like, nah, no pats on the back for you. But I'd love to know how he did it. Was it a combination of Ozempic and working out? Was it pure working out? I'd love to know how he went from how big he was to how he is now, because as you can see there from that picture, 2024, he looks a little bit like me. In 2024, he looks a little bit like me. And then suddenly in 2025, he's kind of lost all of it in his face, especially in his face. You can see the amount of fucking weight he's lost in his face. He looks fucking incredibly more fitter, leaner. You would imagine he's always going to be explosive and have that athleticism because he's just got, great genetics and shit and fast twitch muscles. Despite even having knock knees and stuff, he still does freakishly athletic things. So I think he'll always be great in that regard. but he does look really, really in good nick, to be fair, in terms of his build and everything else overall. So that's really great to see. Although he does look weirdly, usually when people lose weight when they're fat to skinny, like he does look older now that he's, maybe that's the effect of Ozempic, or maybe it's just a goatee, because he's not that old, is he? I think he might be like 24 or something, right? How old is Zion Williamson? Zion age. How old is he? He's 25, yeah. So it's only 25. So I think maybe it's the goatee. Maybe the goatee's fucking him up. Maybe the reality is that no 25-year-old should have that kind of trim. That kind of beard trim is a little bit too old for his age, Maybe he should have like a little R&B beard or something, or a mustache, but he shouldn't probably have a full goatee. I think having a full goatee for a 25-year-old is a bit crazy. But still, he looks really good. He's in good shape there. But then if you're wondering why he decided to finally lock in, it wasn't because he wants to take his basketball seriously and he wants to recommit himself and become one of the greatest and go down as a legend. Nah, this girl here from Bleachers Report, she breaks down exactly why Zion got himself fit and skinny again. It has nothing to do with being great. It has everything to do with money, essentially.
So much talk about Zion's body, but did you know that his NBA contract literally depends on how much he weighs? Here's the deal. After missing the entire 2021-22 season, Zion signed a 5-year maximum extension with the Pelicans. But because of concerns about his health and conditioning, it wasn't a typical max contract. The first 2 years were fully guaranteed. If he'd met weight expectations and played a certain amount of games in his second year, which was last year, the remaining 3 years would be fully guaranteed too. But he was only able to play 30 games, which triggered the clause stripping the guarantees on the last 3 years of the deal. Now, each season he has to hit certain checkpoints to get the next season guaranteed.
So basically, that's the only reason why he lost his weight. Because that guarantee was only for the first part of the contract. The second part of which was a smart way to play it, by the way. A very smart way to play it from that team. To have the $45 or the $40 million contract split in two. The guaranteed was obviously to make him sign, I'd imagine, right? You make the first half guaranteed so that he signs for your team. But you make the second half not guaranteed so that he keeps up his end of the bargain. But so then he has to wait. I think he has to weigh himself like 6 times in a year. Crazy things for someone just to do the bare minimum. But they have to put that in writing because, the signs were there that he could be a little bit of a muncher.
First is the weight clause. 6 times a season, he has to step on a scale and prove that his weight plus body fat percentage isn't over 295. Pass all 6, 20% of his salary for next season becomes guaranteed. Then there's the games played, which was his problem last season. Play 41 games, 40% more becomes guaranteed. 51 games, an additional 20%. Wow. 61 games, final 20% locks in. Hit all of those and the entire next season is guaranteed. Think of it like this. He hits all his goals this season, next season's salary is fully locked in. But if he missed the weight goal or too many games, not only would he be making less money, but the Pelicans could literally cut him and owe him little to nothing. So yeah, when people say Zion looks slimmer, it's not just about the basketball. Millions of dollars are literally at stake. Hopefully he balls out this season and gets himself paid.
So that's why Zion decided to get healthy. That's why Zion's had to lose all that weight. Not because he wants to be a great, but he just wants the money, man. Which again, a great motivator, but Jesus Christ, man, he could have been one of the greats. But really, he's gonna do whatever it requires to ensure he has the money to, you would imagine, spend the money on the things that he likes to do. And we know what he likes to do, right? We know what he likes to do. So I guess that's a motivator. That's a motivator. But what I did really enjoy was Cameron, one of my favorite rappers of all time. His interpretation of what happened and why it might not be the greatest thing for Zion to lose all the weight that he did. Big up Cameron, big up Mace, big up Treasure from It Is What It Is. A really good review and summation of what he thinks went down with Zion and why it might not be a good.
So sometimes you got a nigga doing too much. Not saying he shouldn't be in shape, but now what if he don't play the same? Maybe he needed to drink that Coors after the game, that Heineken. That Bud Light, whatever he was drinking after the game, because that's what keep him on his D. I'll say this, I used to give this crackhead money
I can't hide my faces for the life of me.
You don't have to Stat. It's all good.
What would you give her the money for?
Well, murder, you know, we cool with a lot of crackheads growing up, so it's a different. Stat, you don't know a crackhead that you cool with?
Mm-mm.
Nah.
I don't think I've ever met a crack, or maybe I wouldn't know.
Nah, you got mad crackheads where we come from, and they mad cool. And they got a lot of knowledge too, and they help move TVs and air conditioners and all type of shit.
Some of the crackers we have in my area, they're the ones who get sent on jobs, get sent on fucking runs. So they'll go to like Marks and Spencers, they'll go to North Face, they'll go to JD Sports, they'll go to all these different stores and steal stuff and then sell it. Usually they run it up around Christmas time. They'll run it up. They'll go and sell mad shit. But it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy because they'll come into barbershops and shit and just pull out some stuff out of their trousers, like with tags, like a full tracksuit here, £20 or whatever. Some crazy stuff, fragrances, loads of fucking things. That's what they kind of get used for in here. And I guess it's a mutually beneficial relationship. Don't get me wrong. But it's pretty funny to see them just walking down the street with like tons of fucking legit stuff that they kind of just robbed from the store just a few minutes earlier.
They mad cool, you know what I'm saying? But I got this crackhead that nigga was mad funny, man. He used to have the signs and shit. Yo, what's the best city?
The best city to meet? Miami.
His sign said generosity. Gave him $15 for that. I like that. Generosity. We got some creative niggas out there.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Generosity.
That was a good one.
What's the best nation?
Donation.
See, murder, I'm trying to quit Stat. That's what I'm saying. I give niggas a little $7, $8 whenever I got there behind that shit. You know what I'm saying? That nigga had the one sign. I gave him $25 behind the sign. Nigga had the sign. He said, "Yo, I'm not homeless. I need money for kung fu lessons. Ninjas stole my family." Nigga, 25. Ninjas stole your family. I need money for kung fu lessons. Take the 25, nigga. The more
was a good one.
Yeah, the more the story is, he cleaned himself up, and he wasn't that funny. And the jokes he was telling me, I wouldn't give him $1 for. Son, just got whacked. They was trash. But hey, he was clean. Jokes fell off, but he was clean. When he had them joints funny, it's hilarious. I can't pay for the clean you, but I respect it. You don't know what you're getting with Luka and Zion. So go ahead and try and clean him up and make him skinny. You will not get the best city is generosity. if that's what you want. Hopefully it'll work out. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, hopefully it'll work out. Hopefully it will work out. I'm rooting for Zion. I really want him to kind of fulfill his potential. He looks in really great shape. Hopefully it will sort out for him. But I did remember seeing this commentary that I think it might have been Joe Barton, right? He talks a lot of shit, but I think there was a comment by Joe Barton. Well, who was it about? It was some footballer. I forgot who it was, but essentially this footballer was getting injured quite often, and Joe Barton made a comment that allegedly they have found a link between footballers who get veneers and injuries like increasing. So there's something about footballers when they go to Turkey, Colombia, parts of London, whatever, to get their teeth done, right? To get those fucking veneers that everyone likes, so you can look like a contestant from Love Island and shit. Supposedly, when you get those veneers done, it does something to your bite and to your chin or to your whatever that kind of affects the way you chew. That then has a downstream effect and affects how your neck moves, the muscles that connect to your shoulders, whatever. That then leads to your legs and shit somehow. I don't know what it is. Don't ask me what the science is behind it, but there's some sort of thinking that the veneers increase in professional football has led to a lot of these muscular injuries in footballers as well. Like they could see a direct correlation between it. So can you imagine if there's some like weird thing that happens to Zion when he lost all this weight? That maybe having all that weight is what gave him that extra burst and pop and aggression and pace and power, and then suddenly you lose the weight and you've lost a little bit of your game. You know, you lost a little bit, almost similar to like Lil Wayne when he kind of stopped drinking lean. And it was like, it wasn't the same, you know? He had to kind of get back on that fucking purple stuff to give us a music that we all kind of knew and loved, because it kind of added a little bit to the stuff that he was making. But either way, prayers and thoughts, and hopefully he figures it out. Big up Zion, big up Zion. Great to see him at least trying. Even if it's 7 years later, even if it's 7 years late, at least he's made the change. I don't think there's ever a time limit to making a change. I think, especially with humans, we inherently are very hard to change once we're set in our ways. The fact that he has changed, I think, should be commended. I think should be fucking commended. Big up Zion Williamson. Big up Zion Williamson. And there's a quote here actually from him talking at the press conference earlier about greatness. Now, I don't believe it is, because I think he's only doing it for the money to ensure that he has enough coins to pay for his female company. But even if I'm wrong and what he's saying here is true, I'm all for it. I'm rooting for him. Big up Zion Williamson.
Talent is more of a natural thing. Like, you can look at somebody and go, okay, they're really talented. Greatness is every day. Greatness is when you don't want to do it, when you want to do it. If you're facing crazy adversity, good, bad, no matter what's going on, greatness, you do it every day. You show up every day and you make it happen every day.
Yeah, big up Zion. Big up Zion. Big up Blood Clot Zion.